Tobagonians had the opportunity to participate in a public consultation at the Scarborough Library on Wednesday to discuss the criteria for removing or renaming statues, monuments, and street names. While some attendees agreed that symbols of the island's colonial past should not dominate the landscape, many emphasized the importance of commemorating Tobagonians' contributions in meaningful and inspiring ways. More in this report from Kandace Jackson.
Some members of society believe that statues, monuments, and street names reflecting the country's colonial past should be changed. But how should this be done, and what should replace them? The cabinet-appointed committee tasked with reviewing statues, monuments, and signage in Trinidad and Tobago is answering these questions. Rodney Pigott stressed the need to consider how such relics are presented and glorified at historical sites.
It's like those thunderous looking cannons that just seems to be everywhere, that represent what? It represents that which was used to keep their property to themselves. You know, we were their property.
He noted that due to the psychological trauma these relics could evoke in descendants of enslaved people, they should be relocated to museums rather than remaining in public spaces. Meanwhile, Margaret Hinkson suggested an alternative approach. Instead of renaming streets and other landmarks, information about historical figures they were named after should be prominently displayed.
Let us put a plaque that says this about Picton: he was a wicked, evil man. So, you know, we know that Picton is not a man to be hailed, but you recognize that this Picton was seriously in our history.
Antonio Thomas argued that before removing a monument, its structural integrity should be carefully assessed.
So like the burial site and the forts, the history happened there. And you could still see architecture existing from the particular history. I feel like that should be the criteria to not remove it from the spot, depending on how much of the architecture is still intact.
Thomas also suggested that when renaming a monument, building, or street, the new name should reflect its significance to the local community.
We should also consider how the persons in the surrounding identify with the space before we consider removing it. So I guess consultation with them before removing the thing.
Many Tobagonians suggested that individuals who made significant contributions to their communities should be immortalized. Committee Chair Dr. Rita Pemberton agreed, adding that recognition should also extend to those who may not have held prominent leadership roles but made meaningful impacts on society, such as seafarers.
Those men, those people who made the boats and sailed them around, carrying, keeping their communities alive. We need to find who they are and give them the recognition that is due.
Kandace Jackson, Tobago Updates, Television News.
Last Monday, the Tobago Autonomy Bills were brought before the committee stage in Parliament. However, the UNC-led opposition rejected the bills. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine has faced criticism for urging that the bills not proceed. However, during yesterday's Tobago Updates morning show, Augustine clarified his position, arguing that the bills would have placed Tobago in a worse position.